Tasmania's mental health services still face uncertainty as workers brace for multi-million-dollar budget cuts. As nurses, case managers and psychologists' jobs remain on the line, staff, unions and users of the system are worried about the future. In the state's north, a mother who's seen firsthand the gaps in the mental health services is trying to make a difference. Lydia Nettlefold lost her youngest son to suicide, and she's transforming an historic homestead in the Midlands into a retreat for those at risk, as Tamara Glumac reports.
It's a unique piece of Tasmanian history that's slowly being brought back to life. Built in 1829, Haggerston was originally owned by a local publican before becoming a hub for farmers in the Midlands. When Lydia Nettlefold bought the property 4 years ago, it was run down and crumbling.
A lot of the barn had actually fallen down completely. Apparently there was an earthquake here in the 1920s and a section of the barn actually sort of dropped to the ground. So we had to clear away all the stone that had actually dropped first of all and then restore all the walls.
A team of stonemasons and carpenters has restored the original homestead on the 120-hectare property on the outskirts of Launceston. Now attention has turned to the barn and stable yards. They're being converted into apartments to provide respite accommodation for people battling depression and mental illness.
One day I was out here working and I thought, my God, I've got that barn. I could do something with the barn so that I could allow people to come and stay at the farm and breathe the fresh air and spend a bit of time in nature with the animals and just to give them a break, really.
The space will house an art gallery and a farmers market. It's the latest venture of the Nettlefold Foundation, set up by Lydia after her 21-year-old son Ed took his life in 2009. The foundation helps young people through depression by giving them life-changing experiences and also supports families affected by suicide. For Lydia, moving to the farm has helped ease her own pain.
It's a very peaceful, beautiful place to be. I just have a feeling that it could help. I'm planting a big vegetable garden, we've got the chickens. I always think it's wonderful to be with the animals.
Giant word sculptures have been scattered throughout the property as symbols of hope.
I just thought it'd be wonderful to have life-affirming words so that people can drive along and read them and think, oh, wow, what's that? And it sort of starts people thinking.
It's hoped the retreat will be up and running in the next 12 months.
The plan is that we're actually, people are sent to us by professionals, school principals, doctors, psychologists. We wouldn't be choosing the people, they'd be chosen for us really, because we'd need to do it in that way, and they'd have to actually come along with the carers.
The project's been welcomed by mental health workers who say there's a desperate need for respite accommodation for at-risk youth.
There's very limited services for child and adolescents, both in our inpatient facilities for mental health, but just in general wellbeing and maintaining wellbeing sort of services.
The state government's long been under pressure to fill the gaps.
We know statistically Tasmania has pretty high rates of suicide, and we know that we need to do some more about that, and the Minister for Health launched the suicide prevention strategy at the end of last year. Haven't seen any major investment in money of that through this current budget.
For the past 11 years, Time Out House in Launceston has been offering short-term respite for young people.
We see them increasing their self-esteem and just their sense of peace within their self and whatever is troubling them as well, that they've been able to feel safe.
The house is run by volunteers and can only afford to operate on weekends when young people stay and receive one-on-one support. Demand is growing.
There's nothing like us around the state. We have clients that come that are bussed up from Hobart, that come from Devonport, from Meander Valley area and Georgetown area as well, and they come and stay for the weekend.
The service, which relies purely on community donations, is facing an uncertain future.
We have about 8 to 12 months worth of money left in our kitties before we run out of money. We're working on a feasibility study and business plan that's been funded through the state government. We're hoping one of the outcomes is that they provide us with funding, but there's no guarantees there in the economic climate.
You got that excited.
Hayley Bowman was in the depths of depression and suffering a severe eating disorder when she went to Time Out House 3 years ago. She'd dropped out of high school, been in and out of hospital and attempted suicide several times.
I didn't really know what I wanted, and I didn't really want to be a part of the world, and coming here made me realise that I've got potential and that there is a place there for me.
Now 18-year-old Hayley has moved out of home, returned to study and is about to start her first full-time job in hospitality. She credits Time Out House with saving her life and says there needs to be more services like it.
It's made me a completely different person to what I was about 3 years ago, and it's made me bring my self-confidence up and helped me through a very tough time, and I've made a whole bunch of new friends, and I don't think I could do half the stuff I've done now without it.
For Lydia Nettlefold, those are the stories that inspire her foundation. Despite the months of renovations that lie ahead, she's optimistic this picturesque farm will transform other young lives.
It's really challenging, and I'm very lucky to be able to do it because it's not a cheap exercise, but it gives me great pleasure to think that I can do something that will help other people, and I think it will.